Welcome to another episode of 5 Ways 4. We can all agree that once in a while everyone needs to satisfy their sweet tooth, and there's nothing better than homemade treats. That's why today we'll show you how to easily prepare homemade candy bars. Stick around and see what happened.
If you're hungry and turning it into a diva, this recipe is perfect for you. As you probably guess, we'll be making a Snickers bar. First, pour melted chocolate onto a pan covered with baking paper and spread it evenly. Now, melt some marshmallows in a water bath with a couple of teaspoons of hot water. In a separate pot, melt some butter mixed with sugar and condensed milk. When it starts to boil and turns a darker shade, take it off the stove. Add some peanut butter and the marshmallows and mix through. When the mass cools, spread over the chocolate. Now put a couple of caramels into the pot and heat them up until they melt. When they do, add some peanuts and stir. Pour the caramel and peanuts on the nougat and leave to cool. All that's left to do is cut it into bars and pour melted chocolate on them. Our homemade Snickers looks and tastes great. If you like to get adventurous in the kitchen, you seriously need to try this out.
My wife always says that I've got tremendous cocoa nuts. So what else is there for me to make other than a Bounty? Let me show you how to make this uber delicious bar and feel like you're on a tropical vacation. First, put some shaved coconuts and powdered sugar into a bowl and stir. Pour some cream into a pot and add butter. Now, add some vanilla sugar and heat until the butter and sugar melt. Pour the mass into the bowl with the coconuts and mix thoroughly. Now, form little bars and pour melted chocolate over them. After the chocolate cools, our Bounties are ready. Just one bite and you're in paradise.
After the inventors of the Twix bar presented their invention to the world, they reportedly broke up. We won't be breaking anything, but instead, we'll show you how to prepare them yourselves. First, put a bar of butter into a bowl. Add 3/4 of a glass of powdered sugar and whip it into a smooth mass. Now add 1 egg and continue whipping. Next, add a teaspoon of vanilla sugar, 250 grams of flour and half a teaspoon of salt and whip it some more. Put the whole thing into a freezer for 30 minutes. Form the dough and put it onto a baking pan. Bake it for 30 minutes at 150 degrees Celsius. In the meantime, prepare the caramel. Put 150 grams of caramel into a bowl, add a tablespoon of milk and melt in a water bath. Pour it over the dough and leave it to cool. Next, cut it up into long rectangles. All that's left is to melt some chocolate and dunk the bars in it. And voila! We've got caramel treats available whenever we want. Just remember not to eat them all in one sitting or else you'll get sick.
You've probably seen the TV ad where this guy in front of the cash register roars like a lion. But you don't need to go around roaring at people to get a lion bar. First, melt 300 grams of chocolate in a water bath. Then pour it onto a baking pan covered with wax paper. Next, with a mixer, mix 100 grams of softened butter and another 100 grams of peanut butter. When they're a uniform mass, add 250 grams of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons of milk and mix it slowly. Put half of the mass onto cooled chocolate. Place some wafers on top and on top of that, the other half of the mass. Smear the caramel onto 2 other wafer layers. Now add Rice Crisps into some melted chocolate and stir. Finally, cut the thing into bars and pour the Rice Crisp chocolate on them and wait until it cools. The lions are ready and they taste great. Just forget about dieting and calories and enjoy the taste.
I'm sure many of you still remember the main product of the Polish confectionery industry, the Molotek. If you can't find it in your local store, then let me show you how to make it yourselves. Put a bar of butter into a bowl, add a glass of powdered sugar, and 3 tablespoons of cocoa. Mix it thoroughly with the mixer set to low. Smear the resulting mass on 3 wafer layers and cut them in half. All that's left is to dunk them in some melted chocolate and wait until it cools. As you can see, it doesn't take a lot of work, just a few ingredients and an hour's worth of time.
Let's hope your dentist doesn't get pissed at us, since after this episode, you're bound to schedule an appointment. If you liked it, remember to like the vid and subscribe. See you next week.